It's important that it keeps up with all the latest technology trends. Apps such as Campus Squad and D2L allow students to keep in contact with their studies no matter where they are. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Stephen Skebo.
Team chemistry is everything, and it adds something that skill and talent can't. Let's see if the Flames can keep it up this year. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Stephen Skebo.
Vote for something, not against something.
8 days into the campaign, and PC candidate Blake Peterson is busy working the phones. There are a lot of undecided voters, and the Tories are hoping to secure those votes as the latest polls show the party is continuing to lose ground. The Conservatives have dropped 3 points and now sit at 18%. The Wildrose remains relatively flat with 24%, and the NDP surging to 23%. The Liberals have dropped slightly to 8%, and the Alberta Party is up, currently sitting at 3%. Even with the lead, Wildrose candidate Val Olsen knows better than to jump to conclusions.
The Wildrose knows better than anything. Polls mean nothing. I mean, it's the day of the election, it's the turnout, and it's voters' election day that are going to determine things.
With so much uncertainty among voters at this point in the campaign, Peterson says candidates shouldn't worry about poll results and instead focus on reaching out to the public to spread their message.
Obviously, you got to get the information out to these individuals. There's, lots to be talked about this election. There's lots of educating for individuals to do, so they go to the ballot box and make an informed decision.
As for voters in Medicine Hat, many aren't surprised by the latest poll results.
Oh, they've been in there way too long. They have a lot of arrogance and bad habits. It's time to get a change.
I think it's going to take a long time for people to really start building their confidence.
Oh, I think with just all of the controversy that's gone on around oil and gas prices and pointing the finger at the PC party.
There are still 3 weeks left in the campaign, and a lot can change. Here in Medicine Hat, candidates vying for your vote will have their first chance to make their pitch at an all-candidates forum being held Thursday afternoon at Chinook Village. Stephen Skebo, Chat News.
Monthly housing sales fell to levels not seen since 2010. After low oil prices combined with a shifting outlook in the energy sector caused many consumers to take a step back. Despite recent supply increases in the housing market, sales levels were 35% lower than the 10-year average.
Housing market's a big economic indicator because it tells us really the indication of what people are thinking about and how they feel about the economic conditions. So if people are upset about the economic conditions or concerned about it, the housing market will drop.
The city's luxury market, which is already dealing with a decline, has some sellers slashing their prices by hundreds of thousands of dollars in a desperate attempt to appeal to nervous buyers.
What happens is the luxury prices start to drop and people aren't going to be buying those big ticket homes.
Sales of homes above $1 million fell 43% in January compared with a year earlier. Attached, detached, and apartment listings have all been affected by the New Year's decline. Some have seen this before and aren't ready to panic quite yet.
We've noticed that we're starting to get busier and busier with appointments for home inspections, so the market is starting to grow again.
With Calgary being so intertwined with the energy sector, it's easy to see that a drop in oil prices greatly affects the housing market. The housing market is a great economic indicator of how people are feeling, and right now, they're not feeling too well. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Stephen Skebo.
If you enjoy people and you don't mind driving around, it's a great job to have.
Paul Sevzik has been working for Deluxe Central Taxi for 3 years now. Sevzik works the day shift and drives everyone from students needing a ride to school to the elderly needing a ride home from the doctor. With summer approaching, the demand for taxis usually decreases as more people choose to walk. But this year, taxi drivers are dealing with another challenge as the economy continues to lose traction.
It's hit us, there's no denying it. Folks don't have as much disposable income to use on that. But at the same time, we still have folks who do depend on us, so we are managing to keep a steady business going.
Sevzik admits there are some drivers in the city who are feeling more of the pinch as fares become harder and harder to come by.
We've got folks that, are a little disappointed in their earnings at this time of year.
The drop in calls puts a lot of pressure on some of the drivers that are simply trying to break even with their trips. The average fare in and around Medicine Hat is close to $12, which compared to a bigger city such as Calgary or Regina, isn't a lot for the driver to capitalize on. Casey Schenke, general manager of Deluxe Central Taxi, realizes that drivers can go through some tough times but the industry has to stay fair.
Every single guy here is treated with the same equality, so when you have all 46 cars on, the dollars are split quite a bit more.
Drivers who work peak hours have been able to bring in enough to keep their jobs, but there are some that just aren't as fortunate.
We'd lose some really, really great drivers that have to go out and find other means of income because they're just not making enough here in the low season.
With Alberta being so heavily connected to the energy sector, the slowing of one industry has a trickle-down effect. Cab companies stuck in low season will have to wait it out and see how the market responds in the next coming months to see what type of demand there is for taxis. Stephen Skebo, Chat News.
The dropping price of oil has been taking its toll on Alberta's economy, and some companies have been forced to cut jobs to help cope with the downturn. As Adam McVicker reports, 2015 will be a slow year for Alberta. 2 men were injured during an early morning assault on Friday. It happened behind the border crossing pub in the southeast. Police say the victims were attacked by 2 men, one of which reportedly had a sword. One of the victims suffered an injury to his arm, while the other had an injury to his ear. Police are trying to determine if the attack was targeted, but the victims are not cooperating. National Non-Smoking Week begins this weekend, and Alberta Health Services is encouraging Albertans to keep their homes and vehicles smoke-free. Chris Chacon reports.